What's going on, y'all? It's T-Dog back at it with another video. So today, I want to talk about something. Well, really not just something, but really multiple things that kind of all fit together in one, right? So, what I want to talk about is why I feel everybody's so stressed, Why is everybody so tired, exhausted, mentally drained, whatever you want to call it. There's different words for it. Everybody's feeling it in some type of way, right? A lot more than, let's say, 5-10 years ago. Not saying that we weren't stressed back then, because I was going through a lot worse stuff back then, but I feel a lot more stressed now. And I know a lot more people are feeling the same way, right? So for me personally, I'm just going to start with myself, right? For me personally, I would say, I don't know, a little bit before COVID, I had a really good job. In my other video, I was talking about how I worked for PG&E, and I did tree trimming and a whole bunch of other jobs, HVAC. I was getting paid a lot. Like, I'm talking 8 to 10 grand a month after taxes, right? And once COVID hit, I haven't been able to get good paying jobs like that unless I'm breaking my back, And a little bit before COVID, things were really starting to pick up. It seemed like jobs were just starting to pay more, even when it came to security, normal customer service and whatnot. It just seemed like things were starting to balance out a little bit, at least more than usual, at least more than when I turned 18 and 19. Things doubled in price. When I was around 18, or really 17, a studio apartment in where I live in Oakland, California, right? And I've lived in the Bay for a while now. You can get a studio for like $400 or $500, probably even cheaper, maybe $300. And then as soon as I turned 18, around 2012, something like that, 2013, boom, shit went up twice, 3 times, 4 times. Now a studio was like $1,000. And an apartment, just a 1-bedroom apartment was like 15, and that's without everything. That's just the rent. You get lucky if you can get it with utilities included, right? And it just slowly over time, pay just stopped going up, really. And I have had a few jobs that I'm like, okay, I can make this work, but the amount of work they want me to do for that pay, like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they just make it so hard to want to work for them, to the point where I'm just like, I'll just go get paid less and not stress as much, But then I go get paid a little less, but then I'm stressing over finances. So it's like, either way, I'm going to be stressing, right? And like, I'm a person that, my stress stays with me for a while. I'll be stressed out one day, and it'll ruin my whole week, and it just kind of trickles like a snowball effect. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So now we're in 2025. A lot of people are struggling to find a job. A lot of people are struggling to keep a job. A lot of people that have good paying jobs don't really want them. They're overworked, they're tired. They're like, $100,000 isn't even worth it, because they're just working, and things are so expensive that $100,000 ain't nothing anymore. Like, I remember when I was 12, 10, I'm like, yeah, $100,000, that was the dream. I mean, even like, it's not the dream. It's not. Even when you're getting paid $100,000, it's not what you really were expecting, especially after taxes and all that. So then you got to make $150, and they hit you harder with taxes. And before you know it, you're just in a rat race, working all the time, and before you know it, you're like 60 years old, and now you got money, now you can't spend it. So it's like, what's really going on here? I'm a millennial, or whatever you want to call it, 32, 31? Damn, I don't even know how old I am anymore. I was born in 93. All right, November 93. All right, you guys can help me do that. And our parents raised us to where, you try hard in a job for a good amount of time. You show the boss that you're a hard worker, stick with the company, you're loyal, you show up every day, whatever. And eventually you start seeing it paying off every year, you know. And I've done that, and then I get laid off, or I do that, and they switch something. It's always a change, always something that changes to where it's like not your job description, and it makes it so much more taxing on you that you don't even want to do that job anymore, because that's not what you signed up for. And then it's almost like you're being pushed in a way that you don't want to be. I mean, I know it sounds kind of childish, but when you go to a job, usually everything's in the description, right? Why are they constantly trying to add stuff and change things up if the clients haven't asked for that, or if regional hasn't asked for that, or even the higher ups aren't even asking for that? They're just constantly changing up things to try to look good to them, and they don't even care about them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a lot of people competing for a spot that they're never gonna get. Everybody wants to be like, oh well, if I show the CEO that I'm a really hard worker, they're gonna respect me. Like, it's not like that anymore. They don't care. They just see you as a number. So at the end of the day, that's really why I'm pushing hard doing YouTube videos. I'm gonna start doing them every day, maybe 2-3 times a day. I had other channels that didn't go so well, so I'm trying again. And overall, the conclusion of this story, right, is that everyone's stressed out now because, like I say, we're not getting paid enough. And if you are getting paid enough, you're getting overworked. And if you are getting paid enough and you're not getting overworked, you're most likely like, a CEO or something, to where you're not really doing the footwork of the company. You're really just organizing things and keeping them together and collecting a paycheck, investing your money in other things, I mean, I'm not going to go too far on this, but a lot of people that grew up with money the whole time up until they're 18 and had money afterwards, they're able to invest money right when they're 18. So as soon as they turned 18, they're able to get a house or a car or this or that. So by the time they were my age, inflation went up and they made money. So they went from making money to making money, instead of, starting at the bottom, and every single year things are just getting harder and harder, because you got to stay afloat, but you also got to stay ahead. How are you going to stay afloat and stay ahead at the same time? I'm not, I can't walk on water. So, but anyway, I think I've been gone long enough. I can't even talk anymore. I talk too long. I don't even talk this much usually. But anyway, this is my little piece. I'm going to do another little video later. I hope you guys watch. And let me know how you guys are feeling for 2025. And let me know how the past couple of years have, been affected by like COVID and all these other things that have happened. Not only COVID, like other things have happened that I could talk about in other videos. And it's just made it so a lot of us are just paranoid and stressed and pushing too hard, But anyway, if you guys want to hear more about it, comment, subscribe, like, do all those things. Help me get my channel up. I don't really have a lot of subscribers, so if you guys can help me out, that'd be cool. Anyway, have a good one.